Hey there, everybody. Really excited to talk to you today about the Sanremo YOU. Now, this is a pre-production version that we had the chance to demo. So it may be slightly different than what you see when it ends up on your countertop, but it should be 99% of the way there, and we're really excited to bring it to you today. So first off, talking very high level, the Sanremo YOU is a multi-boiler pressure profiling espresso machine that also allows you to save your pressure profiles that you set and operates kind of like a volumetric machine and manual pressure profiling machine put together. Takes the best of both worlds. Speaking just on the features on the front, we're going to do a deep dive in a moment on what's inside the screen in the group. But first you have your steam wands, right, which are cool touch, and everything is lever actuated. So when you pull it down, it will activate the steam, and then you pull it again, it will stop the steam. And like I said, this is cool touch, so you're going to avoid any of those burns. It'll make frothing your milk a lot more pleasant experience. The hot water tap as well uses a cold water mixing valve, which just means that you're going to get a more even, consistent stream of water that isn't boiling magma straight from a steam boiler. The machine can be operated with just the water tank, and it is removable, or you can directly plumb in the machine to a water line, and the drip tray is removable in either case. The actual brewing controls, this is where you're going to be setting your pressure profiles. So it goes from, of course, 0 all the way up to 12 bars at maximum. And what, as I alluded to earlier, if you find a particular pressure profile that you really like, you don't have to say to yourself, how long was I in pre-infusion? How long did I stay at 9 bars, right, or higher? You can save what you manually did, and then it will lock to one of these 3 buttons. Now, there's 3 profiles that you can actually have on your main screen for volumetric control, but behind them, you can have over a dozen different saved profiles that you can interchange with on any of these 3 presets that live on your home screen. So with all of that in mind, now let's talk more about the actual screen and what you can do in this interface, because it really is where the highlight is. You are able to make your own experience with this machine, and it promotes experimentation. So if you're really interested in trying new things with coffee and really trying to dial in the best experience, this is a machine worth considering. And I'm going to show you in here what that looks like. So now let's look at the individual functions at the top here and walk through these step by step. So on the far left, these are your energy saving parameters, and where you can change all of these components. I'm just going to start at the top and work my way down for all of these. First, there is your standby timer. This is where you can tell the machine to go into a snooze mode after X amount of time. It maxes out at 90 minutes, but you can set this for whatever you want otherwise. And just hit save. Your time slots, this is really nice, because what this allows you to do is set up automatic on-off times. So for instance, if you want it to be off or in snooze from, let's say, 3 p.m. to 7 a.m. the following day, you can set up those time slots here. And they give you up to 6 time slots, which is really nice. Just to give you an example, for my daily routine, I stop drinking coffee a little bit after 2 o'clock. So I, on Monday through Friday, have it set up to be turn on at 8 a.m. and go into snooze at 3 p.m. And then I just have my weekend timer right behind it. Underneath that, you have your manual switches. So if you want to just turn the steam boiler off entirely, you can do that. You just flick the switch, steam boiler is now off. Same for the coffee brew boiler. And if you want to turn the entire machine off, this is where you would do it. Hit the back button and it takes you back to your main menu. Under the user settings, you can turn the light on and off here. So you notice the workspace is illuminated. Hit that, turns it off, turns it back on. But more importantly is your service parameters. So this is where you can set all of your temperatures for your brew and your steam boiler. So for instance, if I wanted my coffee brew water to be at a lower temperature or a higher temperature, I could set it here. Let's say I wanted this to be raised. It is in increments of 0.2 degrees Fahrenheit. I could adjust it accordingly. And just hit save. The group temperature, there is also an element actually inside the group, and that's to help with the temperature stability from time of starting the shot to when it ends, so that way that temperature is just carried over from the actual boiler into the group head. And that is adjustable in the exact same way as the coffee boiler temperature. Similarly, you have your hot water dispenser, but the way that this works is based off of time and the percentage of steam mixed with cold water. So I have this set to a 30% mix, but you can change it accordingly. The less steam you infuse, the cooler the water. And then you can also set the amount of time that you want it to dispense. So when I push this down, how I have it set right now is for it to run for 15 seconds, for example. And then finally, you have your steam boiler pressure, which just like your temperature, you can bump this up or down. And what's kind of cool with this machine is you can actually crank it up all the way to 1.8. If I was using this machine in a commercial setting or for like catering, which it is definitely capable of, then I would crank that steam boiler pressure up accordingly. The steam wand purge is just if you want the steam wand to only purge when you activate it. Generally speaking, though, I think this one is best left in the off position. So now let's talk about the profile mappings menu. It's just right here. And notice the numbers on the side. These are the numbers that correlate with your preset 1, 2, 3 volumetric pre-programmed profiles on the front page. So when you're in here, it's showing you what they're set for, and it's showing you how many milliliters you want that pressure profile to output. This is the important part, and this is the place where you would set how many milliliters you're looking to get extracted. Custom profile 10 is the one that I put together, and if I click on it, I can change out to any of these other profiles as desired. Also, if I wanted to increase or decrease the amount of milliliters that are dispensed for this, I could adjust that with those pluses and minuses. In the corner menu, you also can see your profiles and view them and edit them. This menu on the side here is interesting because what it will show you is the curve of your most recent shot and what it was extracted under. In this case, I did it with the manual paddle, and so it's showing the extraction that happened using this bar graph of pre-infusion, ramp up, and then post-infusion. So you do have the ability to see what your previous profile was. Going back into here though, this is where you are setting all of your profiles. This little wrench icon is where your technical settings are, and this is generally not going to do anything if you tap it. This is if you are trying to get into the technical menu, not the actual user menu for it. And this last piece is for alarms. To give you an example of an alarm, if you leave the paddle in the open position for a extended longer than normal amount of time, then it might throw an alarm that's saying, hey, did you just leave this open and not close it, as an example. And those are all the main functions within the Sanremo YOU. There's a lot that you can play with in here, especially as you start to get the hang of using the machine and how you actually extract with it. What I recommend doing for your first week or two with this is actually to not even pay attention to the volumetrics. Just get used to the paddle and understanding how that process works, and then diving in to the pre-programmed values and pre-programmed profiles, because you'll have just a better control over the machine's manual functions, and it will kind of set the table for using its more automated functions. So now that we've gone through the interface and the machine as a whole, let's walk through making a coffee, right? And we're going to use the manual paddle, and we're also going to take it from a manual extraction that we like to a saved profile. So I've got my coffee ready. I'll lock that in. And then what I'm going to try and do is go for around 2 bars of pre-infusion pressure for around 7 seconds or so, ramp up, and then ramp down for somewhere between 30 and 35 total seconds. So I'm going through pre-infusion. Now we're going to ramp it up. And notice there's a nice bar graph there to kind of show you what's going on with the machine. Now I'm going to start backing this off. There we go. Because I like it, I'm going to star. So I'm going to save it. So the way that the machine understands this, it calls the lever. So we're going to set this as lever profile 6. Okay, so now that we've done that, it knows that this coffee profile that we've programmed is file number 6. So we're going to go up to here to our profiles mapping. We're going to click the drop down, and we're going to go to our lever profile 6, and there we go. So it detected 72 total milliliters of extraction for that profile. If we wanted to increase this or decrease this, we certainly could in this menu here. Or excuse me, I forgot. You can only decrease it with the lever profiles. Wherever the max is where the max is, because it is trying to emulate exactly what you are, exactly what you did when you did that manual extraction. So it will never go over. Now, if we wanted to do that again, all we would have to do is hit the 3 button. We've mapped it to button number 3. So for the future, if we hit number 3, we will get this same profile as we did before. And that's pretty much how you make coffee on the YOU. This opens up a lot of doors, and you do not have to use the manual paddle to create profiles. You can make profiles using just this touchscreen interface. My custom profile 10 that we mentioned earlier is one that I did not make using a lever paddle. I set it entirely up in the settings. And the way you do that is simply go into the corner menu, pick your custom profile. It'll show you what that looks like on the bell curve. You set your pre-infusion if you want it or don't want it. You set your parameters. You set your infusion pressure. And then you set your post-infusion pressure and volume. And then to round it out, you just go back into here and you set how many milliliters you want for your custom profile. That's it. So you can do it entirely through the interface, but you can also do it using the manual paddle, either way. And there's not a right or wrong answer here. There's going to be a lot of experimentation that you do with this machine, as we said before, but this is going to get you a machine that can do it all. You can play with pressure profiling. You can still have volumetrics. It's still an extremely high quality machine, and it's one that we're really looking forward to talking more about in the future as well.